not every person is perfect, and not every big company can be perfect when it comes to customer regards. But I feel like there's something that Blizzard needs to start doing, and this something is really crucial regarding PvP. PvP is something we love, and I feel like everybody who's invested into PvP will be able to give Blizzard a few ideas of what they think they should do. A lot of people will tell Blizzard many things like balancing. Some people decide, hey, there's a class that is too strong, it needs to be really brought down. Or, on the flip side, some classes are not performing that well, maybe this should be brought up. A lot of people have personal experiences, whether they be biased or non-biased. Some people have ideas about what are some of the mechanics that maybe should be added in PvP, whether it's class related or simply PvP related. Some people have ideas about completely new battlegrounds and new content for PvP. From time to time, these ideas are from past experiences, and sometimes it's just ideas that are thrown at a wall, seeing what sticks. And of course, I'm one of the people who also has an idea of what I think Blizzard could do. But for me, I feel like this is something crucial. In Legion, they decided to scrap the honor point, conquest point system that we had at the time for an honor talent system, which I feel like is a crucial system for Blizzard to expand on if they want for PvP to have its pizzazz, to have its hype, to have all the goodness happen with it. I feel like if they were to just pay attention to the system, then PvP on its own just would basically almost make itself. If only though. If Blizzard showed themselves as a company that will work on a future project and kind of just leave the current project alone by itself, just let it be. We've seen this in Mists of Pandaria, where we had literally 1 year of a last patch with Siege of Orgrimmar as the only raid. A whole year, and people talked about the content drop. There was just literally nothing to do, but they were busy working on Warlords General. Warlords General, it was a similar thing. We literally had patches where not a lot was happening. I mean, I remember the 6.1 selfie patch, that was super exciting. Wow, major content patch. I actually enjoyed taking the selfies, but it still was not worth a patch. But they were busy working on Legion, they were busy working on the next great thing. And my fear is maybe they're at a point where they're just busy working on the next great thing rather than working for what we have now. And that is a simple idea that a lot of people have expressed. Why would we want to wait between 6 to 9 months for next expansion when they can make a few changes, a few fixes, and add a few things for what we have now rather than having to wait so long? And this is, again, mostly a PvP-centric conversation. When you talk about PvE, I really can't complain. There's a lot of things to do for PvE, from Mythic Plus to raids to whatever. But I'll get to that in just a second. Let's talk about the main topic, the main entree of the meal. Honor talents. I feel like it's a good idea, but it's a kind of a wasted potential in retrospect. It's not a perfect system, as no system I think is perfect. This was an experimental system, but it just had a lot of potential. I feel like it messed up gear progression, which was a little bit of it dissatisfied a lot of people. A lot of people wanted to see some kind of a progression, and I guess all they could do is the artifact weapon, artifact power, and whatnot, and then maybe unlocking those traits one by one. There was a chance of progression, but they basically took a lot of it out, almost completely out of the game. It was meant to be prestige. The honor talent tree was meant to be prestige. You were meant to climb it and then come back down, and climb it and come back down. But they scrapped it completely, and I understand why. They want to be fair for arena players as well as battleground players, as arena players would just not prestige, so then they could maintain their traits, which a lot of those traits were vital and crucial when it comes to arenas and being competitive in arenas. But I feel that the honor talent system could have been the system, and still can be, the system that can make PvP without adding further content, can literally vary PvP and vary gameplay and allow you and give you many different experiences with just adjusting honor talents alone in PvP. Let's take a look at PvE versus PvP comparison in terms of variety of content. Now, for PvP, the only thing that we have that varies is the brawl. I mean, we could take a look at BGs, RBGs, arenas, and I guess that can vary if you try to play in with different comps, different specs, maybe on your ult. But let's say you're just one character, and for the most part, you will end up playing the meta, as most people do. So you have a staple plan, you kind of know what you're going to be experiencing, you kind of know what you're going to be doing. Brawls offer you a little bit of that variety that the PvP needs. I mean, you want your gameplay to vary a little bit, and by changing the way you play and your BGs, and even the same familiar BGs just in a different playstyle format, it's enough to make an interesting experience out of it. And it's all experimental. Like, none of this stays forever, even though I wish some of the brawls would actually become actual BGs, because some of them seem a lot better than the original BGs. But you have brawls. In PvE, you can do raiding, you can do Mythic Plus, the basic grind for gear, get on your 4-piece, 2-piece, best in slot trinkets, best in slot legendaries. Mage Tower Challenge is a PvE piece of content that's still playable. I mean, for the most part, it's out. Nobody really does it. World Quest, even World Quest, I would consider, and a bit, I guess, general farming, I would consider more PvE content in the game. So there's a lot to do. There's a lot towards character progression. There's a lot towards AP. There's a lot towards getting best in slot gear, that excitement behind it. Then it's also towards getting to be able to experience the content, whether it be a new raid, new dungeon, or whatever it might be. All that combined together gives you a lot of stuff to do for PvE. For PvP, you can do battlegrounds, arenas, and then brawls, but that's really about it. You don't really have a progression system with gear, because gear doesn't matter. The amount of AP you get is pretty low as well, so doing PvP, you do it because you like it, but when it comes to doing for progression, doing because of your character, you just don't have as many incentive as PvE, objectively. So I feel like honor talents could be a way, instead of adding more content or making you get more AP or finding another way for you to upgrade and progress your character through PvP, nobody would really have to work on any crazy content. All you would have to do is pay attention to the honor talents and vary them, change out the talents, and there's just so much that you can do with it. With honor talents, you could do something like this. You could have one day, Unholy Death Knight is the better spec of DK. 2 weeks later, they add some new talents for Frost to see if Frost Death Knight would be viable. I'm pretty sure they can track which talents people are using and which ones they are not, and start replacing talents for every single spec or some specs to see if they can vary. Let's say everybody's playing, let's say, Arms Warrior, but what if they decided, okay, what if we try to make the meta all about Fury? And they add a few talents to see if any of the players will start going playing Fury, or if any of the players that have been playing Fury forever now get a chance to shine. And then you can do a little bit of balancing. Let's say some talent is OP, they could nerf it. And they've done like really almost immediate nerfs in the past. There have been talents, I believe, either 715 or 725, where Boomkins got a lot of additions towards their talents. They made Starfall a lot stronger of a utility, and a lot of Boomies took it to Battlegrounds and RBGs, and apparently was completely overpowered when it comes to flat AoE damage. Blizzard literally curbed that as soon as it happened. I believe that update and that damage increase wasn't even live for half a day. I believe they nerfed it in the evening on the US or sometime in the afternoon. And I remember a lot of people saying, oh, Boomies are so good, Boomies are so good. And then Blizzard nerfing and people were like, oh, it feels bad, man. And it was awesome, because this shows us that Blizzard is able to make quick changes when it comes to the game. If someone is overpowered, if someone is underpowered, they will adjust, and they will be able to either curb it and then maybe bring it back up, or bring it back up completely and then tone it down. When Double Demon Hunter, I believe after patch 725, became the meta because their mana burn mechanic was just way too strong, Blizzard again were able to curb it pretty quickly. So Double Demon Hunter was literally destroying literally everything, as Metamorphosis allowed them to deal insane damage, forcing healers to burn through mana. Once healer had no mana, they would one-shot him because of the mana break. They curbed it as soon as they could, and it was a pretty fast curb because that whole Double Demon Hunter shenanigans wasn't around for too long. That means it doesn't offset the ladder for 2v2s or 3v3s too bad. Unless the buff is there for, let's say, a week, then I could see somebody, let's say, taking advantage of an overpowered talent or an overpowered mechanic that was added recently, and then climbing themselves from, let's say, 1200 to Gladiator, and they don't even deserve Gladiator or something like that. In most cases, it is experienced players that take advantage of this kind of stuff, not really the 1200 players that don't really understand PvP or the core of it, or really know what they're doing when it comes to PvP. So I feel that with this system, it would have its own fail-safes, it would have its own excitement, and again, the only issue that would be with this is the meta. Like, how would you adjust the meta when it comes to, let's say, oh, season's about to end, do you want to keep making changes, or do we kind of want to stop? I feel like they could do a lot of these changes in the early seasons, in the early game, and when it comes to, let's say, a month or two before a season ends, they could just stop all the changes, keep it as it is. You know, they made as many adjustments as they could, for better or for worse. Whoever is at whatever rating you're at, there you are, and then after the next season, then they can go back and fluctuate changes. So in this way, they can see and fluctuate changes to see if they can bring certain specs up, if they can change certain talents, maybe they can do this, maybe they can do that, and then after a while, they would have a little bit of balancing, and then we'll still have a little bit of time to balance out the arena, balance out the PvP regarding 3v3 as best they could, so then they could have as accurate of predictions in terms of who could play what for PvP. Would have a lot of variety for people that are already existing players, whether they'll say play Unholy Death Knight, now they can play some Frost and have some fun and play around, or somebody who literally sticks to one spec and is a spec that's really bad at PvP, and all of a sudden they're actually pretty viable. So this, you could do all of this, I feel like, without having to sacrifice too much manpower for content. Of course, if they added more BGs and more PvP content, that'd be also as awesome, but I'm thinking as minimal, and I'm thinking maximizing the use of the honor talent system as best as possible. So these are my thoughts on the honor talents, and what I think Blizzard could do, and why I think it's crucial that if they were to make these changes, they could make something absolutely great out of it. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know what you think. It was kind of a long discussion video, but I just had some thoughts in the middle of the night and just wanted to put it down in a video, see what you guys think. Honestly, it's a system that I hate to see when something, you know, is just getting half-assed, or it had big plans and then somebody decided not to finish it, like a song or a piece of art or a video. Somebody has been working on something for a while and they had these great aspirations, and then they just don't ever finish it. They don't ever realize those aspirations to the full extent. So it'd be kind of cool if anybody at Blizzard were to go ahead and do this. I highly doubt it, because again, we're coming up to maybe a possible reveal of the next expansion, but I feel like this would be awesome if they were to do this for PvP.